Teammates Richie Porte grimacing a little bit there in fourth position. Tom, I have to say, Cadel Evans looking for some more support to push the effort at the front.
Yeah, Morabito's done his work, but now there's another BMC come to the front. Cadel's looking to keep this race hard, try and place an attack. This is a 13% section. I mean, for people at home, why don't you just put a plank on your stairs and try and ride up it?
Richie Porte, the rider, in second place here. Cadel Evans has said the race has got to be hard. Let's not forget that Cadel Evans has won the King of the Mountains 3 times in the Santos Tour Down Under, but he's never been a real contender to win the race. Now Richie Porte looks over, checks out. Cadel Evans looking very, very good, and Robert Hessink is moving up as well.
And right behind Hessink, I saw the Oka jersey of Simon Gerrans. They've been watching, they've been waiting, looking for a sign, and here goes Cadel over the top of Richie Porte. The pace has been so high, they've redlined everybody. They've been in that high 180s, 190 heart rate. The lactic acid is just filling their muscles, and this is the moment the big guns go. But look at Gerrans in Oka. He's seen Evans, he's seen Porte. These are the 2 guys he beat at national championships.
We're looking here, Robbie, at Cadel Evans, the man who became the first Australian to win the Tour de France, the first Australian to become a World Road Race champion, starting to stamp his authority here. Evans has made a serious move, and it's the Tasmanian going alongside the Victorian Richie Porte.
This is as if we were watching the Tour de France here. This is the move that Cadel Evans had to make here this afternoon. He actually has a very good ally up alongside him with Richie Porte, because if these 2 guys can crest the summit of this climb, they're around about 1 kilometre to go to the top of the climb. It's Gerrans now who's got to do all of the work on his own. But watch out for Cadel Evans on the front. He's an unbelievable descender. Comes from a mountain background. He knows how to handle these corners. And as Robin McEwen said a little earlier on, he's been looking at this descent. He's practiced it. He will know each corner like the back of his hand.
I see Simon Gerrans, he's just off them, but he said this morning he's going to try and ride his own pace. No matter what they do, how hard they attack, he'll ride as hard as he can to the top, try and limit the losses, limit the damage, and chase them on the way down. But Cadel's just gone another step. He seems to be riding Richie Porte right out of his wheel.
Look, he gets a 10-second win bonus. He's 13 seconds behind the Oka jersey, who is kicking back there. And look at this now. Simon Gerrans has suddenly decided to catapult away and chase them down. He is finding a Cadel Evans in terrific form this week.
Well, there's Cadel Evans has put a time between himself and Richie Porte, and the Oka jersey now of Simon Gerrans has to defend on his own. This is Tour de France type tough stuff we're looking at here with Evans.
We are looking at the podium 2 weeks ago in the Australian National Championship. The order was Gerrans, Evans, Porte. Now the order is Evans, Porte, Gerrans, a complete reversal.
Well, Evans has now caught Richie Porte. These 2 will have to get together and try and chase down Cadel Evans. He's built up quite a substantial gap now. The gap was narrowing. Cadel has gone again. He really comes into his own. The longer and harder the climb, he just gets better and better. He doesn't slow down.
Face.
And he's got that focus on his face. He's just grinding his teeth and grinding the gears and moving further and further away.
Sorry, Rob, it just brings a smile to my face when you read all the detractors of Cadel Evans who say Cadel Evans, he never attacks. I tell you what, I've seen Cadel Evans attack a lot of times, and this is one of his most prominent ones now.
And look at that gap now. He has just doubled that gap in a matter of 200 metres. He's really giving it everything. He knows if he can't get away and take time today, 200 metres from the top, he's about to start descending and try and win this Tour Down Under and pull the jersey off Simon Gerrans' back.
It's all going to be about the descent. Cadel Evans knows the descent now, but in the first kilometre going down the first part of this descent, there's some very, very tricky corners. Number 11 on the back of Simon Gerrans there. He's on the defensive.
I just saw a big difference too. 300 metres from the top, Cadel Evans has gone and pulled the big chain ring. Simon Gerrans and Richie Porte still in the small chain ring. That is the difference between being in front and trying to chase this guy down. As he goes past the BMC mascot under the KOM, obviously takes the King of the Mountain prize, but this is where the race can be won and lost.
Look at the time.
Look at the time gain. Remember, the difference is only 11 seconds, and he's got that already. He's the Oka jersey on the road as Gerrans goes over. Now we're going to see some chase down.
I made that 15 seconds between Cadel Evans at the front and Simon Gerrans, Richie Porte tandem behind. Now, as we've said, this man has looked at these corners. He knows how to ride a bike. He handles it exceptionally well. He's a former mountain biker. 2 times he won the World Cup. He never managed to win the World Championships in the mountain bike, but he never lost that ability to go downhill fast.
Well, look at the style down here, nipping off the corners now. You're going to get quite dizzy if you concentrate on it. These two boys know they've got to take risks down here now. They've got to pull back at the moment. Cadel Evans is the next leader of the Santos Tour Down Under. He's played his card. He's now got 4 miles or 6.5 kilometres to hold them off, because remember, he gets a 10-second bonus for the win. He only has to finish 4 seconds in front.
Quick question to Robbie McEwen. We've got the 2 chasers now. Simon Gerrans is losing the overall lead with a move like this. Is Richie Porte going to work with him, or is he going to force Simon Gerrans to do all of the pacemaking?
I think he absolutely will work with him, because he knows he's distanced all the rest. He's putting himself into a podium position. He needs to take time back on the rest of the field as well. Cadel Evans is at an advantage here, twisting, turning. They can't quite see him. They can't really take advantage of being 2 against 1, but once this road opens up, the average speed of the corkscrew climb 24.5 kilometres an hour.
That's huge. They don't even climb it that fast in the Tour de France. 5.9 kilometres to the finish. They're ticking off so quickly now. We're hitting huge speeds now.
Yeah, that's about 17 miles an hour, by the way, as we start to head downhill.
As they come down the hill through the chicanes, nipping off. Nice little select group being made here, but this is the 3rd group on the road now, don't forget, because Gerrans and Porte have got to combine and break clear and try and bridge the gap. They really need to bridge this gap.
And this is to their advantage now. The road has opened up and flattened out. It's a lot more of a pedalling descent now. Up high it was steeper, you could roll a lot more. Cadel is on his own against 2 guys. Richie Porte, also a fantastic time trials, as is Cadel Evans. But 2 against 1, it'll be very difficult for him to hold off 2 chasers. And I do honestly expect for them to come back together within the next kilometre
we'll see.
or so.
5 kilometres to go, or 3 miles to the finish. Slightly out on our GPS, but that ball will be in a very accurate position. It's measured, and so Cadel Evans is just 5 kilometres less now, 4.5. He just goes through these corners. This is the Cadel Evans who used to be the best mountain bike cyclist in the world, and after the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, he became the best road racing cyclist in the world.
Well, the way this could unfold right now is if that group, the next group on the road, catches the chasing group here of Richie Porte and Simon Gerrans, there'll be a slight slowing down once they make the regrouping, and then all of a sudden that gives the advantage to Cadel Evans at the front of the bike race, and he can conserve that little bit more of his advantage. Race radio is currently telling me that it's a 25-second gap between Cadel Evans, the man we're looking at here, and the 2 chasers.
That is absolutely incredible. That going downhill, 4 kilometres to go now as he continues onwards towards the finish. He's pulling out a gap of 25 seconds. 3 Australians showing their back wheels to some of the best cyclists in the world, and all racing in a very incestuous competition here. Now Porte's going to kick, and Simon Gerrans will have seen him. He's got to take him. Well, 17 seconds by my watch at 4 kilometres to go.
Well, I tell you what, the big advantage Richie Porte has got is he's got his own teammate. Geraint Thomas is in the group behind. Geraint Thomas won't do anything at all to help chase that down. There is the visual gap that we're looking at. That is a big, big gap as we're inside of 4 kilometres, 2.5 miles of racing to go down towards the finish. They're going to have to do something very special if they want to catch a man who is riding like the wind.
They are having to go like lightning then, because he has opened up a big gap from the top of the climb. He's put another 5 seconds between himself and the chasers. Richie Porte and Simon Gerrans, they need to fully cooperate.
A 56-second kilometre, because that was 3 kilometres to go. We just passed on the side of the road, but I think the gap is about 18 seconds.
They're just about to catch the 2 chasers, and that could give the big advantage to Cadel Evans, because when you've got a big group like this, nobody wants to do the pacemaking. Who's going to do the pacemaking?
I've seen Simon Clark in the group from Orica Green Edge. He will go straight to the front for Simon Gerrans and try and close down this gap. If there's anybody else in that group who's serious about the overall, they will help as well. But it looks like it's probably up to Gerrans, and I think that's possibly maybe Daryl Impey in the group there, who's about number 15, who's about to go to the front of the group.
There's Daryl Impey, who's come across, and Geraint Thomas is here, the winner, number 63 of last year's stage, into the finish, the very same finish we're heading to now. And Adam Hansen has done good to hang on to the back here in that green spotted jersey. There's plenty of people to chase now. 54.5 kilometres is the average speed. Impey wants to help, but he's looking forward to where Gerrans is at the moment.
I think this is the moment it's just broken down. Impey's gone to the front. Nobody has followed the wheel. It's going to stall again, and Cadel's going to open up a few more seconds. 1.8 kilometres to go. The bird has flown, Phil. They are no longer going to take Cadel Evans back. But the question is, how much is he going to win by? Win bonus on the finish line, plus his gap. We've seen a big change in this Tour Down Under.
Well, look at his face, and now you see the difference of a team, because two BMC boys trying to break up the rhythm at the back. We're onto the flat roads now. We're shortly dead straight into the finishing line here in Montecucci Road, as now it is the man who won the Tour de France for Australia, the man who won the World Championship. This is the Cadel Evans, full of determination and determined to rip that ochre jersey off the shoulders of Simon Gerrans.
And with every pedal stroke, he's just taking that jersey off him just a little bit more. They may have closed the gap by a second or two, but they're not going to get close to him for this stage. I mean, what a fantastic ride. Like we said, over the top of that climb, pulled the big chain ring, has not eased off one little bit all the way down. He's giving it absolutely everything he's got. He knows this is what's going to win him the Tour Down Under.
Well, he's got the Battle of Olunga Hill, but his plan today was simple. Ride them off his wheel and race down to the finish. He's done just that. Into Campbelltown. In the distance, you can see him. They've closed in a little bit of the gap, I think, but for Cadel Evans now, he's going to do the two-arm salute here. A great victory in the Tour Down Under for him. Then the clock will start. He's 13 seconds behind overnight. He gets a 10-second win bonus. That could be reduced, though, if Gerrans can take second place. So he's got to get a reasonable gap between. But one thing is for sure now, because this group is closing in, and one thing can be sure, this race is going to be very, very tight at the top tonight. 150 metres, 50 metres. Give this man a round of applause. What a tremendous ride. Cadel Evans hits the line. He's done all he could do to win the stage. Has he done enough now to take the ochre jersey? And I think he has. Just looking out at it, there's Adam Hansen going. Rowan Dennis on the line, but over there it was Nathan Haas, Diego Ulissi. Gerrans only in 5th place on the day, no bonus for him. So Ulissi gets a bonus, but there's no doubt now there is a new leader on the Santos Tour Down Under.
Well, I think he's given it a 26-second turnaround to Simon Gerrans. The winning margin was about 16 seconds, plus the 10. He'll put himself about 13 seconds or 15 seconds ahead of Simon Gerrans in the overall, and with Ulissi closing in as well. But I think that could be the bike race, Phil.
Look at this man here now. He has done it. He's a very strange character in many ways, Cadel Evans, but we just felt his language now. I've been sort of around him for a couple of weeks. You know how he's thinking. He wanted to do this. He's training to win the Giro d'Italia, the Tour of Italy this year, and that would be another first for Australia. And as you watch this man drive like this, well, who would question the fact that he's going to be in amongst it in the month of May? Look at that. Cadel Evans stamped his authority on Corkscrew Hill, and now he's heading towards the ochre jersey in a few minutes' time. Officially, he's got across the line 15 seconds ahead of Nathan Haas of Garmin Sharp, Diego Ulissi, the winner yesterday, 3rd, Adam Hansen in 4th place, and Gerrans in 5th place, all timed at 15 seconds behind Cadel Evans, who picks up that very valuable 10-second win bonus.
Well, it's a testament to his dedication, Phil, over the summer months here in Australia, how hard he's obviously trained. And you see, even he probably knows he's just with that ride, not only won the stage, pleased the Aussie fans, he's most probably done a Tour Down Under winning ride, but he's just so magnanimous in victory.
Yeah.
He's a